Good afternoon, students. Today I will start a new video which I am preparing for you. This is known as the Indus Valley Civilization. This Harappan civilization or the Indus Valley civilization, why it is known as the Harappan civilization? Because this is a very old civilization, and this was considered to be the first urban civilizations in South Asia. Previously it was known as the Indus Valley civilization, but when excavation took place, then the first site that was excavated came to be known as Harappa, because that place was known as Harappa, so it also came to be known as the Harappan civilization. But then major settlements have been excavated in the Ghaggar-Hakra belt that spread far beyond the Indus region. Harappa, it was the first archaeological site to be discovered. Therefore, it got the name to the entire civilization. And this Harappan civilization is considered to be around 8 lakh square kilometer. 8 lakh square kilometer. Now this forms it belongs to the Bronze Age. But it is much older than that Chalcolithic civilization. So in many ways it has been more developed than settlements in the Chalcolithic period. The Harappan civilization, can be classified into three phases. The early Harappan phase, that is from 3200 to 2600 BC. The mature Harappan phase, that is from 2600 to 1900 BCE. And the later Harappan stage, that is 1900 to 1300 BCE. In the early phase, the places that was discovered, some of the early Harappan sites were Lothal. Harappan sites are Padri in Gujarat, Padri, Padri in Gujarat, Kalibangan in Rajasthan, Dholavira in Kutch, Harappa in West Punjab, Balakot, Amri and Bhirana in Haryana, Kot Diji and Gumla. It is noteworthy to add that there are no early Harappan sites in the active Indus plain. Then the mature or the integration era was the urban phase of the Harappan civilization, and the places of this civilization were the West Punjab, the East Punjab. These were the important states where Chanudaro, Amri, Rangpur, these were found during the second period. The most important feature of the Harappan civilization was the town planning. Now I am just giving you a brief introduction of this chapter through this video. The first part was known as the citadel. Harappan civilization is known for its urban outlook and sophisticated sense of civic planning and organization. In most cases, the Harappan city was divided into two parts. Number one was known as the citadel or the raised part. This part occupied a smaller area and was frequently situated to the west of the city. Rulers of the city lived here. Citadel means a raised platform. This place was occupied by the people who were the ruling class. Why they were in the raised platform? There might be several reasons for that. Number one, to protect themselves from the enemies, and number two, to protect themselves from the flood. And the lower was the common citizenry lived and carried on their professional lives in this part of the city. City planning roughly followed a grid pattern, and the houses, streets ran from north and cut at right angles. Distinguishing features of the Harappan planning are as follows. First thing, that the streets were wide, the main street being 10 meters and dividing the town into rectangular and square blocks. There were lampposts at interval, number one. Number two, they used burnt bricks of good quality, and the unique feature of this brick was identical ratio of 1:2:4 in terms of thickness, width and length across all Harappan structure. Equally striking was the uniformity in the average size of the bricks. So, all these things suggest that it was a urban civilization. Number two, they had a very excellent system of drainage. Drains were made of mortar, lime and gypsum and covered with large brick slabs for easy cleansing. Nowadays you see the drains are all open. So you can see the dirty water flowing through the drains, or most of the drains are choked with the plastic and all dirty materials. But during those days all the drains were covered with slabs so that the dirty water cannot be seen. Houses were often of 2 or more stories, though varied in size but quite monotonous. No window faced the streets, and the houses had tiled bathroom. Some houses had their own wells. So in most of the houses they were either one-storied or two-storied building, and in every house, within the house there was a courtyard. Every house had its own bathroom, and the pipe of the bathroom was connected to the main drain. So that nowadays what you see, that the drains are, the water from the houses are overflowing on the main road. But it was not like that period. So overall we can say that the Harappan civilization was an urban civilization. What are the points? First of all, they used burnt bricks. Number one. Number two, the houses were well planned. Houses were planned and they had a very advanced drainage system. So all this suggests that it was a sophisticated, or it was a urban planning. Number two was the society. The Harappans were great expert in the use of potter's wheel and were poor in artistic works of stone, primarily red-black pottery painted with black design, usually that of trees and circles. With popular, some of these pots were used for storing grain or water. Now why water could be stored? Because they were all burnt. So you know what we call in Bengali the matir ghora, in which you can, in English you call it a pitcher, where you store water. Instead of drinking water from the fridge, one can drink water from these pitchers. Perforated pots were probably used for brewing fermented. So these pottery was used very much for storing water or storing milk, etc. Along with this, a lot of terracotta has been found at many places, including figurines of animals such as the bulls, buffaloes, dog, monkey, toy carts and human. Terracotta bangles have been also found. It is important to note that more female figurines have been discovered in comparison to male figurines. The Harappans refined the art of bead making. The jewelry excavated includes gold and silver jewelry, including necklace, bracelets, pendant, earring, brooches. So these were, now copper, bronze, silver and gold were metals known and used by the Harappans. So these were the metals which were known and used by the Harappan, but iron was not. They were also good at metallurgy and producing alloys. The most important bronze statue is that of a dancing girl. Harappan people generally wore garments of cotton or wool. The Harappans relished non-vegetarian food. Fish eating was common. Milk and curd was also consumed. The Harappan societies of Sindh and Punjab largely consumed wheat and barley, while those of Rangpur and Surkotoda consumed rice or millets. The Harappan script was pictographic, but today we do not know much about the Harappan civilization because the language that was used during the Harappan civilization has not yet been deciphered. So yet a lot of things remains to be discussed in this chapter. Today we have discussed just a brief introduction about the Indus Valley. In my next class we will discuss in detail. Till then, goodbye.